Okay, Beis Hashem, Perek Gimel, very, very exciting. So far, we have discussed the differences between the two neshamas. We are now going to discuss the individual koichas that each neshama has and how specifically to utilize them. Okay, let's begin. There's a lot of akdomas, there's a lot of discussions. The Heilige Tanya is definitely giving us a lot of groundwork with foundations of a lot of things that we're going to be discussing at later stages and in other Sefiros as well. So it's kedai for us to explain some of them in a more detailed manner. Here we go. Vihine, kol bechina umadrega misholosh elu nefesh ruach uneshama. Now remember, we've said that combination a few times. We've said this combination of nefesh, ruach, and neshama a number of times. We have not explained what exactly is the difference between a nefesh, a ruach, and a neshama. But if you have patience, in Perek Mem Tes, the Baal Tanya will explain it. So we have a bit of time to go until we get there. But Al Koponim, we'll wait till we get there to understand it a bit more. Okay? Now, again, V'hine kol b'chinas u'madrega sholish elu nefesh ruach neshama kulula me'esa b'chinois kineged esa Sefiros ha'elyonos shenishtalshelu mehen. And we'll stop there for a minute. What we are saying is, the madrega of these three, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, are kulula, they're included, they're intertwined with the esa bechinois, which are the 10 koiches that allow, with these koiches, the neshama to connect to Hashem, which are connected the esa Sefiros elyonos, which we're going to explain. So let's, before we even go further, understand a few things. Okay? Let's understand there are two types of Sefiros. There's Sefiros ha'olamos and Sefiros neshamas. Okay? There's basically Sefiros in the worlds and Sefiros also in the neshamas. The first time that the Sefiros are mentioned is actually in the Sefer Yetzirah. Those of you that were here for Talmud Torah remember we discussed it slightly because it's in Perek Beis of Talmud Torah. There's a lot of Sefiros. I gave a share on it last year as well. You can look it up online actually, how to go through the practical Sefiros that make up our neshama, that make up our emotions. I think I called it healthy emotions. Al Koponim, these Sefiros are obviously deep Kabbalistic ideas. The Hagdama, the Makor, the source, the first time we find it, a remez in anywhere, is actually in the Psukim, in Pesukah de Zimra, L'cha Hashem Agdulam, Vayvarach David, we find over there the raya to some of, you've got Netzach and Hoid and everything else. Memela, that's the first time that we see that it's mentioned. Now, what's an idea of these spheres? What are these spheres? We're explaining a bit more in detail in a moment, but as a Hagdama, the idea of the 10 spheres is like, if you want to understand something, you split it into 10 parts. So I'll give you an example. If I would like to understand that, I see this car, and like, wow, what an amazing car. How does this car work? So how do I explain a car? I first have to explain, well, there's, obviously there's the outer shell, but in the inside of the shell, you've got the engine. And you've got so much going on that's, this one, that's making the wheels go. Those are the brakes. There's so much going on that comprise altogether the car. So the world is so complicated on a spiritual level, which of course manifests itself well in a physical level as well, that the way that we can explain it is by saying there are 10 spheres. So we're sort of splitting it up into 10 parts to explain how the Rabban Shem made the world. And as we said, there are spheres in Olamos. We're not talking about galaxies and universes. That's not what we mean. We're talking about spiritual things. But what we're discussing is the spheres in the neshama, okay, which is much of our emotions, which we will explain be'ezus Hashem. So what we're saying is, let's go back again. Every mechina, every madrega of the three, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, is connected, is intertwined with the 10 bechinos, the 10 koiches, which are connected, the 10 spheros, shenishtalshu mehem, that they originate from. Okay, now it gets to take it a step further. Hanechlokos l'shtayim, that are split into two. Shehein, ready? Sholosh imois, 3 mothers, v'sheva kfulois, and 7 doubles, 7 kfulois. Okay, so let me give you some background. I hope you're going to follow this. Okay, he's going to explain it a bit before we get to his explanation, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Tanya's Mahalach as opposed to some of the other Hasidic Mahalchim. In the Sefer Yetzirah, he discusses how the world was created. Those of you that ever see Rabbi Shemaiah coming home late at night on a Friday night after davening, it's because he gave a share for a few hours after Ma'ariv on Sefer Yetzirah, which talks about how the world was created. So he talks over there how the world was created, and he goes through the Hebrew letters. And the Hebrew letters have tremendous mysterious understandings. If you want to understand on a very light level, you can look up the Beis Yosef in the beginning of Hilchos Tefillin. He goes through some of them on a very light level. There's the Sefer Baruch She'amar as well. But the Sefer Yetzirah goes through how the world was created through the certain letters. Now, what are these 3 mothers and 7 doubles? So the 3 mothers are Aleph, Mem, and Shin, which is basically the beginning, the middle, and the end of the Aleph base, which encompass everything, and it symbolizes the root of everything in the world, because everything in the world was created with the Aleph base, is rooted in Hashem. The 7 doubles are Beis, Gimel, Daled, Chof, Pei, Reish, and Tov. Now they have a double identity. What's the reason they have a double identity? Because those letters can all be pronounced soft or hard, meaning with a dogosh or a dot or without. So it shows that Hashem can be soft, meaning kindness, and Hashem can be hard, meaning din. So the mothers are the internal mind of Hashem, and the doubles are how HaKadosh Baruch Hu practically runs the world. Another reason that the Kfulos is because each one has both aspects of din and rachamim as well. Okay? So that's an idea over there as well. Let's continue. Perish. And back inside the Tanya, Perish. Chachma, Bina, Vadas. Chachma, Bina, Vadas are the first of the 3. These are the Imahois, the mothers. The first of the 3 out of the 10. 10 Sefiros, first 3 are the Imahois, the mothers. Okay, that's Chachma, Bina, Vadas. Rosh Tevis, of course, Chabad, which is where the name Chabad comes from. But that the Baal Tanya has a specific shita, which we will explain in a moment where he's coming from, and why some of the Hasidim didn't go with that mahalach. We'll go with that. But the first 3 out of the Esses Sefiros, and again, if you line up the Esses Sefiros in a vertical line, the first 3 are going to be Chachma, Bina, Vadas. And then you move on to Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, and everything else, okay? And now we move to the other 7, the 7 doubles, okay? The Shiva Yemei HaBinyan, the 7, which are literally like the building, so to speak, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yesoid, Malchus. These are the 7. So you got the first 3, Chachma, Bina, Vadas, and then the next 7. But they're split in that way, specifically. When I gave the share to the boys last year called Healthy Emotions, we only did the last 7, not the first 3. And there was a reason for that. I explained it over there. They can be split up. You don't always have to learn them together. Now, he says like this. V'kach, okay, and so is. And this is what he's explaining. The binyan of the Olamos, the way the Rabbeinu Shalom created the world was through these 10 Sefiros. V'kach zog the Baal Tanya weiter, b'nefesh ha'odam, so too is with the neshama of a yid. Shenechlekes l'shtayim. That's also split into 2. In other words, as I said to you in the beginning, the Esses Sefiros are Olamos, how the Rabbeinu Shalom created the world, but they're also Esses Sefiros of the neshama. Now we're talking about the neshama, and just like the Sefiros of the world could be split into 2, Chachma, Bina, Das, and the other 7, so too, when it comes to the neshama of a yid, it also split up into 2, the first 3 and the next 7. Seichel umidois. Seichel, intellect, okay, understanding. Midois, character, emotions, whatever you want to say. The difference is Seichel serves the self, and Midos is relating to others. Ha-Seichel koilel chochma bina v'das. So Seichel, the Seichel, again, there's 2 parts. Seichel umidos. The Seichel part is koilel, includes chochma bina v'das. The Hamidos hen avas Hashem. Right, the midas, as we explained, were the emotions. The emotions inside you are the avas Hashem, the love that you have for the Rabbeinu Shalom. Upachdoi, v'yirosoi, ulufaroi. These are midas, these are characteristics. These are emotions. You're scared of Hashem. You have awe of Hashem. You have fear of Hashem. You have love of Hashem. So that the midas, the other 7 include those. The chochma, bina, vadas, This is by Rabbi Sai, one of the most important lines. V'chochma bina das. Nikru imois. They're called the imois, those three. Umakor lamidois. And they are the source. They are literally the foundation for all of the midas. Why? Ready? Ki amidois hein toldois chochma bina v'das. Because midas is a tolda. It's an offshoot, an offspring of chochma bina v'das. So I'm going to explain it like this, that what the Heilige Tanya is telling us is the reason why the first three, chochma bina v'das, are called the imois, the mothers, is because they're the most important, and everything else is the children, so to speak. It comes from there. You need to start with the imois. You need to start with the mothers, and then you can go down and you can go down the chain over there. The shita of the Tanya, Rabbi, says as follows: the biggest avodah of a yid has to begin with understanding. Has to begin with chochma bina v'das, with an intellectual understanding of the Rabbeinu Shalom. And once you have that base, all of the other midas follow after that. But you need first the foundation, and then you can have everything else. Now there's a very important point over here that he's addressing. Something that the Hasidim, specifically at the time of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh and others, came along to address. And that was, Klal Yisrael were lacking the passion of Yiddishkeit. There was a problem. There was a problem with Yiddishkeit. They were lacking that drive, that passion. It just wasn't going well. Yiddishkeit was missing something. So came along many of the Hasidim and said, oh, you're not happy? No problem. Sing and dance and clap during davening. Make a tish. Get involved. Gishmak, whatever it is. You'll be happy. You'll be besimcha. Okay? In other words, work on that emotion. You have a problem with simcha? You have a problem with love of Hashem? You have a problem with yiras Hashem? Work on the emotion. The Baal Tanya, and by the way, many others, held very differently. That simcha, without contemplation, without real thought process and understanding, is not real. It's not genuine. And the same thing is not also with Yira, and the same thing is with Ava. If you want true Avas Hashem, if you want true Yiras Hashem, the Yisod is first contemplate the Rabbeinu Shalom, and then everything will flow out after that, which is why it's called the Imois, it's called the mothers, because they are the foundations. Otherwise it's just an empty shell. It's not meaningful. And therefore the love and the yira that we want is something that overflows. And there were many Hasidim, by the way, at the time of the Baal Tanya, that was very opposed to this mahalach. No, just work on simcha, work on ava, work on yira, you work on it, work on the middle, it'll be okay. There were a lot of people. But Lemaisa, if you go through Tanya, you will see there's a tremendous amount of espoidus that when a person has to think about Hashem. Stop and think about Hashem. Contemplate what you're doing. And he's going to teach us how to do that. He's going to teach us how in our avodas Hashem we can literally learn to be able to have that base. Because only when you have that base can the love pour out. And later on he talks about the idea of people that are so in love with the Rabbeinu Shalom, they want to die for Hashem. They just want to kill, they want to die. Because in the inside it has to come from, and then it comes to the outside. As opposed to working from the outside in. So that's where the Baal Tanya is coming from. Work chochma bina v'das, work with understanding, contemplation, understand what's going on and why you're doing it. And then and only then can you come to real Avas Hashem, real Yiras Hashem. Mitzvah Hashem, we shall continue Be'ez Hashem tomorrow.